Greetings, folks. Cross-Train here, coming to you today from World of Tanks once again. And today I'm going to share a battle that I fought last night in my, wow, that was a nice little lag spike there, in my Centurion MK71, which is a Tier 9 British medium tank. For those of you that haven't played it, the two greatest characteristics of this tank, as well as several of the, certainly the Centurion, and then even the Action X at Tier 10, Centurion being the Tier 8 medium, is they have great turrets and great gun depression. So, and you're going to see both of those things play out on this match that I had last night. A couple of things about this tank. When I actually played through the British medium line, probably 5 years ago, perhaps. Yeah, it was around 5 years ago, I think. This tank got great reviews from people. People just loved this tank, and I frankly didn't like it at all when I played through it. And I'm not really sure why. But I just didn't like it. Felt it was slow, couldn't get anything done in this tank. And the truth is I still have a hard time winning in this tank, and I've been playing it very well recently in terms of damage output and so on and so forth. But clearly not enough to help my team win, because I haven't won a ton. Regardless of that, I didn't like it the first time through. And so this is one of the many tanks that I sold after I had grinded through it to get what at the time was a Tier 10, I think was a 4202, was the British Tier 10 medium tank at that time. Again, you're going to see in the next few minutes, you're going to see where the gun depression on this tank really works for it. So I've already taken that one shot, and I'm not sure why none of these go through. But I'm going to shoot a couple at this guy's lower plate with a green armor penetration indicator that just never goes through. And I don't know why, but that's okay. At any rate, I didn't like this tank, and so I sold it. Well, recently I've gotten to the point in my World of Tanks career, if you will, that I'm kind of basically done grinding tanks. I am currently grinding a couple of tanks, but it's not a real serious grind. I just don't care that much. I have 45 or 46 Tier 10 tanks and ground through basically all the tanks that lead up to those Tier 10 tanks. And so there's a few new lines that I'm grinding. But recently I've started buying back some tanks that I played years and years ago. For two reasons. Either I loved them at the time, which certainly doesn't classify this tank, or I realized that I'm probably a better player today than I was 5 years ago, so maybe I can play these tanks more to their strengths today. So this is one of those tanks I recently bought back, and I love this thing. I mean, I just love this tank. It's still a little bit slow, but the turret on this thing and the gun depression on this tank make them fantastic. And all the way up to this point already, you've already seen certainly the gun depression at work. You've seen the turret at work bounced almost 1,000 already, and we'll bounce some more as we go along here. And just this tank is just superb. So in this game last night, this is one of those games that just, for whatever reason, just played out well for me. Enemies got kind of caught in this corner here, and the team is extremely competent with me. And so we've got guys going around from all sides. You see that Larson just got taken out by our Scorp that worked around their back edge. And there's nothing this 430 and this TS5 can do at this point. They're just bound for trouble and the end here shortly. So, in fact, so quickly I can't even get a shot on this TS5 before he goes down. So we've wrapped up this northwest corner. It's 14-4. They only have a STRV 1030, the Tier 9 Swedish flat pack that's still alive. Never been spotted, so there's a pretty good chance he's probably over in that K line. So our team is basically just racing after him. I got 3,600, almost 3,700 damage, almost 1,700 spotting damage already. And one more time I'm going to put the turret and the gun depression, for that matter, on display with this tank. So I pick up the spot on this STRV. Gonna get another shot in here. Try to get a second shot, but he turns at just the last minute and my shot goes awry. Now he's pointing at me, laser gun, so I back down, just give him my turret, and he bounces. And before I can get another killing shot off, he goes down. So quick battle, heck, what are we, a little over 6.5 minutes. It was one of these classic World of Tanks games these days, it seems, which is a 15-7 runaway, and it probably wasn't as close as the final score indicates. At least it felt to me like this is just an absolute stomp and roll all the way through. And unfortunately, I've been on the receiving end of many of these games myself, so I know how much they suck. But there they are. So let's jump real quick to the post-game stats. And you can see that it was my first Master badge in this, and I was quite pleased with the Ace badge. Didn't expect it, but you can see I had 4,076 damage dealt and almost 2,200 assisted damage. That was split up pretty evenly between tracking, and I think I had 1,100 spotting and 900, almost 1,000 tracking. So I only get credit in the XP gain, or in the Marks of Excellence gain anyways, for the 1,100 of the spotting. But again, lots of work. I did get the Confederate badge too, which I've long said is one of my favorites because it means I contributed over the course of the battle. I contributed to putting some damage out on a bunch of different tanks. Team score is 1281 raw XP, which is good enough for an ace in this tank, which I was surprised at, quite frankly. I knew it was a decent game when I came out, but I did not expect it to be an ace. But to say I was thrilled was an understatement. So 4,000. We had really nice damage spread through our team, certainly for the top 8, 9, 10 folks. And then took 16 shots, hit all 16, 11 were pens, 4,000, almost 4,100 damage. Again, I bounced 1,360, and which is probably average or normal. If I can get this thing into a hull down position, then it's actually probably a little lower than what I can do. And 2,200 spotting damage, as I said earlier. Net profit of 40,000. So all in all, a very good game. Very happy with this outcome. As much as I hated this tank 5 years ago, I would say that I like it at least that much now. And I have had a difficult time winning. I think I'm only winning in the last week or so since I bought it back, in probably 10 or 15 battles that I've played it. I'm probably only winning 45% of the game, so struggling to get victories with it, but from a performance standpoint, it's certainly standing up to par. So, with that said, Hope you enjoyed the battle. It is a great tank. If you've working your way through this line, this is a really good tank. But I love the Centurion MK1 at tier 8 as well. I like the 4202 when it was a tier 10. I still like the Action X. I just don't play my tier 10s very much. But they all have the same characteristic here of great turrets and hull down positions and significantly good gun depression. And as you can see with this tank, it's got a nice punchy gun too. So until next time, this is Crosstrain out from World of Tanks. See you on the battlefield.